I've been thinking a lot about starting to make some new videos for Facebook and YouTube and whatnot. It's been a while since I've done sort of these type of videos, but I think it's about time now, and so like to start practicing on a few things I'd like to start saying. And so I guess it starts with what I consider to be the most important thing that is not talked about or is not common knowledge. Something that should be common knowledge, and if it became common knowledge once again, as it once was common knowledge, it will have the greatest effect on the transformation of the world from a negative place into a positive place that can be seen by all people in a positive way. Not only that, but anyone that understands what I'm trying to say can apply it to their lives and experience it and see the benefits that come from its use and its usage. So I've been reading some pretty good books, and it's kind of talking about how there is no such thing as the body is not good or evil. But there's always a battle going on in everybody if they're aware of it. What actually we're supposed to be doing. I call it purification. And so through purification, we can reach, quote unquote, like a virtuous state, where through that, then our external manifestations are changed by the purification battle that is going on within each individual. And so the way that I see it is quite easy. It has nothing to do with meditation, or meditation in the way that we think of it as sitting and doing something, thinking about something, focusing on something. I dedicated 6 years of my life, 5-6 years of my life, to about 5,000 to 6,000 hours of meditation, because I believe that was the path to purity and to getting to a point of purity. Means having greater clarity, objective clarity, a natural energy without having to resort to external sources, happiness, lack of depression. And every single person, we naturally have a source within us. It can be considered a spiritual source. It can be considered a divine source. From the time that we're born, that we have this source. Every single being. Even animals have this being. But humans very specifically have it. This source is the source center for happiness, purity, energy, goodness. All of these type of things, it comes from our source, basically. A lot of people think that happiness comes from some type of external object. Once we acquire it, or if it occurs to us, then happiness comes. That can be one form of happiness, but it's not a lasting happiness that just exists throughout our days. And so basically, that's what I'd like to talk about in this video, is how to purify your natural source, and actually how it becomes dirty in the first place. This whole world is actually built to dirty our sources from the time that we're born until the time that we die. In the past, our youth would have this source to a much longer time period because there wasn't a lot of things that could dirty this source. The uniqueness of our situation in life is that now our children are able to dirty this source on a much higher scale than ever before, and that's what we can see in our youth. Stagnation, lack of clarity or focus or meaning. And so if our children, if we can focus on this as adults and then also teach it to our children and realize what is the problem, what's the cause of these problems, then it can make a huge transformation in our lives. And so more or less it's easy. It's about craving and addiction. I mean, that's one of the major things that quote unquote dirties our sources. We have to be very honest with ourselves about what we're addicted to, whether that be big or small. Everybody has different things that dirty their sources. So somebody that might be highly addicted to drugs or to perhaps pornography or other things, that might not be the same battle of that I'm struggling with. But maybe I'm struggling with using social media too much or going online too much, or maybe I'm drinking too much, or there's many different things that could be what's dirtying my specific source. So we have to, first thing is to be very honest with what do you crave? What do you crave daily, and what has become something that is dirtying your source? Is what separates the way that I teach purification than other people, or even like Buddhism or other things, is that if we can eliminate a lot of our cravings or all of these external objects simultaneously, then that allows us to purify in a much quicker scale. And it allows us to purify because it becomes easier to overcome the cravings that are very, very deeply ingrained. For example, if somebody's tried to quit a hard drug like heroin or cocaine or crack or any of these things, it's very difficult to go cold turkey on any of these things unless we understand that those cravings are connected to other smaller cravings per se. For example, meat or coffee or alcohol or cigarettes or online social media or all of these things. These things are all things that can be foundations for greater addictions. If we can recognize all of them at the same time, then it makes it easier for us to overcome our cravings for higher addictions. And once we can overcome our higher addictions, then we can start to overcome our lower addictions to get to a point where we're actually craving free, basically. Although that's not the goal, to become craving free, it is a reachable state that can create great purity and body, mind, and spirit transformation into a natural state, like when one was a baby or a child. That is an achievable goal, but it is very difficult in today's society if we are ignorant about the things that are actually we must overcome. And so something that I've been experimenting with recently, I've been doing this for a long time, experimenting with the self and evolution, self-control. Only through self-control can we actually see who we are, and actually can we reach these higher states of clarity and energy. And that's the way of living life, is just a natural happiness, natural energy, natural clarity. That shows us what's important, what to focus on. So something I've been doing recently that anyone can try is to label all of the things that one is craving or one is addicted to, and you have to be honest with it. A lot of people think being addicted is a bad word, and that means I need to go to rehab or something, but that's not what it means. It just means you have to be honest with yourself about what is your issue. And so something that I've been doing is, I also don't say that you have to overcome an addiction forever. You can purify yourself for like 5 days, 6 days, and then let go for a day. And then if that feels great and you want to go farther, go 2 weeks, go 1 month. So basically some issues that I've had are my biggest issues that I recognized recently is social media use and online news. I'm an online news junkie, and it's something that I've always loved to do, is to go on and look and to write and talk about it. And so what I've been doing is for 4 or 5 days, I will quit drinking coffee and switch to tea. I quit eating meat and go vegetarian. I quit drinking any type of alcohol. I quit smoking as much as possible. Maybe every once in a while I have a smoke of a cigarette or something like that. If I'm really trying to work harder, then I won't even do that. Then I quit my online media. I quit social media, online news, And then something that I've noticed that has been coming recently is once I get to that heightened, very highly, more purified state, something happens is that I start to have a craving to acquire things. Like, something will show up and I'll be like, I need this, maybe I'll need this or I need this. But none of those things are things that I absolutely need. It's just a further craving or an addiction to acquire things, even if they're cheap. It's just accumulation. And so by doing all these things, being very aware when these, the way that I look at it is like these addictions or cravings are like pots within us. Like if you have a pot, a clay pot. So every one of these addictions, you have a clay pot within. And basically, throughout your given day, as these cravings arise, these pots are emptying themselves. And so basically maybe my pot for drinking is rearing its head and something's coming out of that pot and it's showing itself. As long as I don't fulfill that pot, that craving is going to pass away and this pot is going to empty itself just slowly and slowly and slowly. And then my next pot will arise. Maybe I want to go onto the internet and look at online news. That addiction, that craving will rise. As long as I don't fulfill it, it's going to pass away. That will just keep occurring. All of our pots basically will continue to show themselves, and we just have to be very aware. That's the meditation itself, is being very aware and focused on the process of purification that actually exists. And so if you can overcome all of these cravings one after the other, it becomes easier to overcome other cravings. And thus, like I said, if you have something that's very difficult to overcome, whether it be like hard drugs or alcohol or pornography or a sex addiction or any of these type of things, they become more manageable if you can notice the cravings that you're having in other things and you don't fulfill them. I think the problem that a lot of people have is that if they're not fulfilling this hardcore craving, then they're fulfilling these other small cravings. Maybe they're eating more, or they're smoking more cigarettes, or they're doing this or that more. And that actually, it can be beneficial, but it's not total purification. And so once you start to be aware of the way that the process works, that you're just purifying yourself one thing after another, then when that starts to happen, when you start to see that a craving is arising, is passing away, and you do this for even 2, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, even a very, very short amount of time, as your pots are decreasing, you're going to notice increased energy, increased clarity, increased good things can happen to you. Books can come to you, new knowledge, new friends, new people. All of these different things do occur, and one becomes more productive. To me, these are all very positive attributes. That is basically a sign that our source is clearing itself and our quote-unquote light is shining more brightly. And so, like I said, I don't suggest that people quit all these things forever. That's your own personal choice. If you want to quit forever and shine bright like a star, then that's something that you can do, and it's something that I will do as time goes by, and as I do it more and more, and as I decide, how do I want to live my life. Occasionally, from a social perspective, I like to go out, I like to drink, I like to hang out with friends, I like to smoke cigars or whatever, I like to do these things. And so it's not something that I'm saying to do forever, but it's something to experience and to find your more pure thinking self and your more energetic self. It can heal you. It can bring you back from an old age or an old feeling. It can make you feel younger. It can if you are looking to be 40 years old and you start to purify yourself, you can come back to where you're looking and feeling like you're 30. This is something that I've done multiple times, so I'm very aware of the process and how it occurs. A lot of people might be watching this video and think that it's, a sham, but unless you try it, then it's very difficult for anyone to say, oh, that I'm full of crap or whatever. This is basically the culmination of what I've learned in my many years, I would say 6 or 7 years of a spiritual journey, that this is the most important aspect for ourselves individually, but also societal wise and what's missing. Basically, there's two parts to life. There's working on yourself, and then there's working on society and trying to make society a better place. I would say that a lot of people, if they look at society and think that there's nothing wrong, then that's basically a lack of clarity about what is right and what's wrong. And that clarity can come as you're purifying yourself and you see what's important, what's worth fighting for or fighting against. And so I would encourage everybody to with this knowledge, try it. You can just go 5 days, go 2 days, go 1 day, go 3 days. Doesn't matter. Go 2 weeks, go 1 month, go 1 year. Go however long you feel. To purify yourself in those regards and see how you feel. If it's something that you want to continue doing, then that is your God-given right, your nature-given right, your human-given right. This is something, the type of knowledge that's been removed from society and hidden for specific reasons, that they don't want us to have this type of knowledge. They want to have more control. The more that you are aware of this knowledge, the more control that you have over your own body, your own life, the direction of your life, the direction of your family's life, your community's life, your country's life, and this world's life. It is basically our duty to live fully, and that's the goal of everybody, except we use a lot of substances. So I'd encourage everybody to attempt these purification. It's like a physical fasting, digital fasting. You don't need to starve yourself of food. There's a difference between meat and food. There's a separate pot for food and basically for meat per se. A lot of people think, oh, I can never quit meat or whatever. But if you start to feel better and you incorporate this into your total purification package, then you'll see the importance of it. Most of the times, like on the weekends, we'll eat meat or a little bit of meat here or there, but it's not something that I'm focused on 24/7. And so I just like to encourage everybody that this is something that I've learned and I'm trying to pass it on. And I appreciate you watching this video. Thank you very much.